Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace, and today we are going to study the chapter Prepositions. So let us move ahead and understand what are our learning objectives. Our learning objectives are to understand what are prepositions, then we understand the type of prepositions, rules related to prepositions, exercises based on prepositions, and 12 high frequency words. So let us move ahead and start the session with the definition of a preposition. Well, prepositions are those words which are used to connect nouns, pronouns and phrases. So does it mean it's like conjunction? No. Conjunction merely joins two phrases or two sentences or two words, but it connects nouns, pronouns and phrases in sentences such a way. Usually preposition indicates the relationship between nouns, that how they are connected to each other. So in a sentence there is a subject. So the subject and the rest part of the sentence, how they are connected, that is shown by the preposition. Clear? It shows that whether words are connected through time, space or place. Usually the preposition is placed before a noun or a pronoun. Preposition. It is placed before a noun or a pronoun. Clear? So let us move ahead and understand that there are some frequently misused prepositions. Prepositions may sometimes be confused because of slang and the general informality. For example, if I have to say, please sit beside me, I may make a mistake by saying, please sit besides me. He jumped into the river, and we say he jumped in the river. So these are frequently misused prepositions like besides and beside, between and among, due to and in spite of. These are the prepositions which are generally confused. In the place of in spite of, we say despite of, but the actual use is despite. In spite of the problems he sustained. Despite the problems he sustained. This is how so they are frequently misused prepositions. So we will discuss questions related to these. Moving ahead. Types of prepositions. So first is prepositions of time. Prepositions of time are used to indicate time of an action or time relationship between nouns in the sentence. Time of an action or the time relationship between nouns in the sentence is denoted by preposition of time, such as at, to, in, etc. At, to, in, etc. For example, I go to school daily at 9 o'clock. I go to school daily at 9 o'clock. My result gets declared in March. My result gets declared in March. So you can see March is a month. 9 o'clock is a point of time. So for points of time we use at, and for long durations we use in. So March is a long duration. Clear? It's 31 days, so it's basically in March. Clear? So moving ahead. Time nature. Time nature and preposition used. Months or years, in March in 2005. We use the preposition in. A century or a specific time in past or future, etc. Like in the 20th century, in early days, in the Stone Age, in future, in the past, we use in. A day. Example on Sunday. Dates on 7th of February, on February 7, we use on. I'll elaborate more on this in the tips of the day. So basically, this is the time nature. So for months or years, centuries or specific time in the past or future, for longer durations, we use in. On a particular day or date, we use on as a preposition. And at a particular time, definite point of time, we use at. Moving ahead. Particular days like on my birthday, on Independence Day, we use on. On is used over here. And time of a clock, at 3 o'clock, at 4:20 p.m. Short and precise times, at night, at sunset, at noon, at lunchtime, at the moment, at bedtime, we use at. So let us summarize this. Number one, on particular days and dates, at for particular point of time, in for durations. This is to be simplified and understood. Well, moving ahead. Prepositions of place. Example, on, at and in. Place. So prepositions of place are used to show the place where something is located, such as at, in, on, while, during, near, over, under, between, behind, etc. So I will show you a diagram and explain it in a better way. These are basically simple prepositions. So I'll show a diagram and explain you. These prepositions are used for several types of places. Example, on, at and in. In is mostly used for a place having some sort of physical or virtual boundary. For example, if I say the cow is in the garden, the students are in the classroom. I won't say the students are at the classroom. On is usually used for a surface. Suppose there is a surface and something is kept on the surface, we use on. The cup is on the table, not in the table, on the table. The students are on the classroom. No, the students are in the classroom. At is usually used for specific place. At is usually used for specific place. For example, if I say a beggar is at the door, so it's a specific place. We cannot say the beggar is on the door. So suppose this is a door, he cannot be on the door, right? So he should be at the door for that matter. Moving ahead. So I have ample of space to describe you through a diagram. So I'll use this space on the right side. But before that, the preposition of place, example, on, at and in. The dog is on the floor. My home is behind the metro station. Mom is in the room. So in the room, a place defined by boundaries. Behind means just behind, on the back side. The dog is on the floor means surface. So let us describe this through a diagram. Suppose this is a table. I'm not very good at drawing, but still I'll try my best. Okay. And we have a cup. So one cup is here. One cup is here. One cup is here. One cup falls from the portico on this. One cup falls from here to the ground. One cup is just, suppose this is this kind of table it is, the back side. One cup is here. One cup is, one triangular thing is over here, just in between them. So this is how I'm going to describe it. So this cup number 1 is on the table, Cup number 2 is beside the table. This is under the table. 3 number is under the table. This is behind the table. 4 is behind the table, This triangular thing is between these two cups, This is falling upon the table. This cup has fell off the table, This cup 3 is under the table, this is behind, this is in front of the table. So if you're talking about surface prepositions or spatial prepositions or preposition of place, this is how we can describe it in a better manner. On, under, beside, behind, in front of, fell off, O-double-F, fell upon, this way. Clear? And between two things, there can be things. So this way we describe the preposition of place. Moving ahead. Prepositions of direction, showing direction. Example, into, to, through, towards. Preposition of direction are used to indicate direction of someone or something in a sentence, such as over, under, to, on, into, in, onto, right, left, etc. These prepositions express the direction of something. Example, into, to, through, towards. So if somebody jumps into a well, it's showing the direction. They are going to the classroom, means shows the direction. The snake was coming towards her, in the direction of her, towards her. He threw a ball into a river, into. So if there's a three-dimensional substance, three-dimensional space, somebody moves into it or rushes into it, we use into for that particular thing, movement, that relationship. We are going over the bridge. The man was going towards the hill. This way we can use. So these are the prepositions which show the direction of something. Moving ahead. Prepositions for agent, or we can say prepositions of agency, like by or with. These prepositions are used to express a causal relationship. Cause and effect, we can say cause means somebody is a cause for something, between the noun, the doer, and an action. Example, by, with, etc. A nice book was written by John Keats. A lot of noise was made by the kids. One example can be, the dog was beaten with a stick. So with and by are basically prepositions of agency. Clear? Moving ahead. Preposition verbs, or words followed by prepositions. Basically, preposition words are some words which are followed by certain prepositions, or for that matter, phrasal verbs. Phrasal verbs is an entire different world we are not going to discuss now. We are going to understand some verbs followed by preposition. Agree with someone, agree to something, give assent to something, dissent from, this way. So a preposition verb is a combination of a verb and a preposition. It is simply a verb followed by a preposition. Okay. Some verbs require specific prepositions to be used after them in a sentence. The combination of such a verb its required preposition is called a prepositional verb. Prepositional verb is verb plus preposition. So certain words are followed by fixed preposition according to, in accordance with, this way. Certain words are followed by certain prepositions. Okay, moving ahead. So let us start the exercises. Let us solve some questions. He has roped in civil society members to create an awareness about the food item. So to create an awareness about is the correct structure. This on shouldn't be here. You create an awareness about something, not create awareness on about something. So this is on is incorrect. So the error was in part D. So we have removed on from there. Because one creates awareness about something, not create awareness on about something. The Kerala government has decided to grant bar license for hotels graded 3-star and beyond. See, beyond means out of the reach of something. But the Kerala government has decided to grade 3-star and above. They can be 3 stars or above. 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, 6-star, 7-star. So it should be above, not beyond. Clear? Okay. According to the state government, the cabinet meeting was held in Darjeeling after 44 years. According to the state government, no error. The cabinet meeting, no error. There is no error in the B part. The cabinet meeting was held in Darjeeling, no error. After 44 years, no error. There is no error in the sentence. Okay. Moving ahead. Question number 4. The Enforcement Directorate has attached assets worth over 50 crore around 4 states in connection with two money laundering cases. It should be not around, it should be across 4 states. Why across? That's a big question, right? So around means in covering that area, but across means in 4 states basically. So it should be across 4 states. Then ED has attached assets worth over 4 states, across 4 states, not around. Around means it's just like approximation, but across means definitiveness. Definite is there. So it's across 4 states. Fine. Next, About 20 uterine transplant operations have been performed around the world till date. About 20 uterine transplant operations have been performed around the world. Around the world means throughout the world, means approximately throughout the world. So it should be no error is the correct answer. Around 115 million years ago, when the ancient supercontinent Gondwana was breaking apart, the mushroom fell on a river and began an improbable journey. Okay, around 115 million years ago, when the ancient supercontinent Gondwana was breaking apart, the mushroom fell on a, okay, not fell on a river. Something cannot fall on a river. It should be fell into a river. Fell into a river is the correct answer. Clear? Fell into a river and began an impossible journey. This is the answer. Error was in part C. Fell into a river. This is the correct answer. Moving ahead. Question number 7. Mr. Gandhi and the other leaders were released passed after a 4-hour detention at a cement company's house near Nayagaon. Okay, this past shouldn't be here because we mean to say Mr. Gandhi and the other leaders were released after a 4-hour detention at a cement company's house near Nayagaon. There is no use of past. Past means which has already passed away, the time that has been lost or invested or spent. So here we need after only. Released after a 4-hour. Clear? 4-hour detention. Moving ahead. Okay, question number 8, sorry. We will have to wait for another 6 months at least soon before the embryos can be implanted in the transplanted wombs. Okay. We will have to wait for another 6 months at least. Soon shouldn't be here. We will have to wait for another 6 months at least before the embryos would be implanted. So this can should also be. So there is an error in 2 parts. So let us assume that this question has two errors in it. So we can define that we will have to wait for another 6 months at least before the embryos would be implanted in the transplanted wombs. So this is not required. So there can be error in 2 parts as well. Multiple error questions are asked. So this error is also there. Great learning for us, right? This can shouldn't be here. This can shouldn't be here. The error was here also, at least before the, not soon before the. Okay. All educational institutions in the Kashmir Valley will remain closed in the wake of a call by separatists for protest beside the students' killing. Okay, let us read it once again. All educational institutions in the Kashmir Valley will remain closed in the wake of a call by separatists for protest beside the students' killing. So beside is incorrect over here. Some student must have been killed. So it should be against the students' killing. Against the students' killing. Against the students' killing. Clear? Okay, moving ahead. 10. According to the army, 22 infiltration attempts were foiled and 43 armed intruders killed along the LOC this year. No error. No error because along the LOC. So LOC is a line of control. So along means parallel to this. And other errors I cannot see because according to the army, no error. 22 infiltration attempts were foiled. No error. And 43 armed intruders killed along the LOC this year. No problem in that. There is no problem with along. So no error is the answer. The woman had boarded an auto rickshaw. The woman had boarded an auto rickshaw. No error in this. This is correct. To go to her parents' home along her 6-month-old daughter following a tiff with her neighbors on the night of May 29. Okay. Along with her 6-year-old child. Along means simply if you use along means in parallel to both the sides. Like along the river bank, along the road. But along with her 6-month-old daughter. This is the correct use. Next. So error was in part B. Understood? Along with her 6-month-old daughter. James got it going early, scoring in the paint at will and taking advantages of the lack of a short blocking center among with the warriors. So with shouldn't be here, among the warriors. Because if we say James got it going early, scoring in the paint at will and taking advantage of the lack of a short blocking center among the warriors. So among with is no correct use, it should be among the warriors, means in between the warriors. A part of the warriors means among the warriors, not among with. Along with is the correct use, among with is we cannot use like that, right? Next. He added that the governments should consider giving jobs to family members of the farmers behind who have committed suicide apart from financial compensation. The farmers is the antecedent. This is the antecedent, means which comes before a relative pronoun. So behind is not required. The farmers who have committed suicide apart from financial compensation. Clear? So this behind shouldn't be here. He added that the government should consider giving jobs to family members of the farmers who have committed suicide apart from financial compensation. Means apart from financial compensation, the government should consider giving jobs also. That's a fact. That's the point of this question. The Goa government has notified Mapusa sub-jail in North Goa because as a detention center for foreign nationals awaiting deportation. See, this because is not required, because we are saying the Goa government has notified Mapusa sub-jail in North Goa as a detention center. It has decided that it will be a detention center. So as a detention center, this Mapusa jail has been declared as a detention center. So this because is not required. Because is used to show reason, but this is not required over here. Next, bars would be allowed to sell quality toddy as part of a slew of measures to strengthen the traditional sector. Bars would be allowed to sell quality toddy. Toddy is a drink kind of thing, which is certainly intoxicating, we can guess over here. Bars would be allowed to sell quality toddy as part of slew of measures to strengthen the traditional sector. So I'm sure this has no error because none of the part has an error. Clear? Okay. Moving ahead. Question number 16. Some of the inscriptions are damaged, as for example, one inscription over the Kail Santhana temple where the name of the king is not clear. Kailasanatha temple, sorry. Some of the inscriptions are damaged, as for example, one inscription over the Kailasanatha temple where the name of the king is not clear. Okay, inscription in the Kailasanatha temple. We cannot talk about inscriptions over the Kailasanatha. Even on was good enough, but in is the best answer because inscriptions are in the temple basically. Inscriptions are in the temple. So in the Kailasanatha temple, error was in C, not over the Kailasanatha temple. The transplants were performed by the doctors at the city-based Galaxy Care Laparoscopy Institute. The transplants were performed by the doctors at the city-based Galaxy Care Laparoscopy Institute. I don't think there's an error in it. Still, we'll see it once again. The transplants were performed by the doctors at the city-based Galaxy Care. No error. No error, students. Fine. Okay. The 68-year-old Carlton, originally from Chennai, said he was voting for the party because of concerns about immigration from inside the EU. Okay, immigration. So the 68-year-old Carlton, originally from Chennai, said that he was voting for the party because of concerns about immigration from inside. So he is considering immigration to a place called India. He wants to come back, so it should be outside the European Union. EU means outside European Union. So he wants to come outside. So immigration outside the European Union. This will be the correct answer. Clear? Next. 19 number. A fire department official said a call regarding fire in the building located behind Gurudwara was received across 1 p.m. So across is incorrect. It should be at 1 p.m. or around 1 p.m. Across is incorrect because for definite time, because it's talking about fire official reporting something. So we have to presume this, that at 1 p.m. he must have received a call. At 1 p.m. Clear? Okay. The maximum temperature was recorded in 34.5 degrees Celsius, which was 6 notches lower than normal and around 3 notches below the reading on Wednesday. Okay, there's an error I think in the first part. The maximum temperature was recorded in 34.5 degrees. It should be recorded as, not in, or recorded to be. Recorded in 34 doesn't make a sense. Was recorded as 34.5 degrees Celsius, which was 6 notches lower than normal and around 3 notches below the reading on Wednesday. Fine. So error was in part A. In should be removed at any cost and as should be placed over there. Okay. Moving ahead. Some more questions for practice. The memorandum lists 15 demands, most of them related to basic amenities like drinking water and educational facilities, besides implementation of the Forest Rights Act. Okay. The memorandum lists 15 demands, most of them related to basic amenities like drinking water and educational facilities. Till now there is no error. Besides implementation of the Forest Act, no error. Here besides mean in addition to. Means something is there, in addition to this something else should be there. So besides is correct. Raja has adapted the story beautifully. Adapted the story beautifully for the Indian palate, underlining a relationship among a father and a son. First of all, it should be adopted. And here it should be from. Error is in part A. Raja has adopted from the story beautifully for the Indian palate. So you adopt something from something else, from another source. Raja has adopted from the story beautifully for the, because adapted is followed by to. You adapt to circumstances, but you adopt from something, from a story, right? So Raja has adopted from the story beautifully for the Indian palate, underlining a relationship among a father and a son. Okay, I think there's some error. Wait, just a minute. I need to recheck. Okay, students, see, we'll rethink and revisit the question. Raja has adapted the story beautifully for. Okay, I think here it should be adopted. This is first error we have got. Adopted the story beautifully for the Indian palate, underlining a relationship between a father and son. Between. Raja has adopted the story beautifully for the Indian palate, underlining relationship between a father and a son. Now its sentence is correct. So error is in part D. See, Raja has adapted the story beautifully. Means adapted means adjusted, or adopted means accepted the story as his own. So adopted is correct and here it should be between. Next question. Creativity goes beside narrow parochial approach and it's reflected in all human actions, but it is the word that betrays its enormous prowess. Creativity goes beside, it should be beyond. It should be beyond. I'll tell you why. Because creativity goes not beside something, it goes beyond something. Beyond what? Creativity goes beyond narrow parochial approach. Parochial means narrow, very insular approach towards life. Narrow, parochial, limited to a certain conservative thought. That's known as parochial. So creativity goes beyond narrow parochial approach and it is reflected in all human actions, but it is in the word that betrays its enormous prowess. Fine. So its error is in part A. Moving ahead, question number 4. The song is inspired the 3 words. Okay. Jhumka gira re. but that is the sole similarity between the old classic and my song. So inspired from, it should be because something is inspired from a different thing. So the song is inspired from the 3 words Jhumka Gira Re. Perhaps some singer is saying this. The song is inspired from 3 words Jhumka Gira Re, but that is the sole similarity between, the only similarity between the old classic and my song. Some singer is saying that. So error is in part A. The state administration has promised that despite of the Bandh call, tourist movement would not be hit. Okay, so despite is not followed by of, in spite is followed by of. Although despite and in spite of mean the same, but despite is not followed by of, for sure. So error is in part B. His drum fell, breaking into two and came hurtling down, banging against the mountain. His drum fell, breaking into two pieces means breaking into two, no problem. And came hurtling down, banging against the mountain. No error. No error in this question, students. Moving ahead, question number 7. The Kailasnatha temple comes under the State Archaeological Department. The Kailasnatha temple comes under the State Archaeological Department, and in 2005-06, a recurrent problem we faced was flooding beyond the monsoon. Let's see it again. The Kailasnatha temple comes under the State Archaeological Department, and in 2005-06, a recurrent problem we faced was flooding beyond the monsoon. It should be during the monsoon, right? What do you mean by flooding beyond the monsoon? Flooding during the monsoon. During the monsoon season, the Kailasnatha temple faced a flood. Okay? This should, during means in that period, in that particular period. Except branded food grains and flours that will attract a 5% GST, cereals, pulses and atta will be tax free. Except branded food grains and flours that will attract a 5% GST, cereals, pulses and atta will be tax free. See, we are not able to see any error because error may be in the part A because that only has certain questionable preposition except. So what does it mean? Except means leaving apart branded food grains and flours that will attract a 5% GST. Cereals, pulses and atta will be tax free. No error. There is no error in this question, students. The LG also stressed the need from creating quick response teams to handle cases of breakdown that otherwise lead to massive snarls. Snarls means fights. Okay, we have problems, all problems. Here it should be for, because need for something, need for creating, need for doing something. There's a need for helping people, there's need for upliftment of the society. The LG also stressed the need for creating quick response teams. So B has an error. So we'll make for as the correct answer. So the LG also stressed the need for creating quick response teams. This is the correct answer. Moving ahead, question number 10. He holds a master's degree in aeronautics and astronautics from Massachusetts Institute of Technology and graduated in the US Naval Test Pilot School. And graduated from, it should be from, not graduated in the US Naval Test Pilot School. It should be graduated from the US Naval Test Pilot School. Clear? Next question, 11 number. Our department brought in experts from the Water and Drainage Board. Our department brought in experts from the Water and Drainage Board, and outlets were provided that would take water away from the temple in case back of, so this back is not required, in case of an overflow. So if there is an overflow, the question says that our department has brought in experts from the Water and Drainage Board, and outlets were provided that would take water away from the temple in case of there is an overflow. So outlet will be there that will take the water away from the temple in case there is an overflow, in case of an overflow. So that back is not required. She told the police that the duo called her on the pretext of seeking help and one of them dragged her inside his shanty. She told the police that the duo called her on the pretext of seeking help and one of them dragged her inside his shanty. No error. Clear? Moving ahead, question number 13. An Indigo spokesperson had said that it was looking to the charges and will take appropriate action based on the internal inquiry. Okay, that it was means the spokesperson, the Indigo spokesperson, looking into the charges. It should be looking into, not the looking to. Okay, the spokesperson was looking into the charges and will take appropriate action based on its internal inquiry. Clear? It was talking about the inquiry. So, an Indigo spokesperson had said that it was looking into the charges and will take appropriate action based on its internal inquiry. So, it should be into. Looking into a matter, looking into a case means investigating the case. Clear? Okay, next question. The horror story seems similar, like an interesting metaphor for lopsided development. Okay, I don't think this similar is required because the horror story seems like an interesting metaphor. Or we could have done the horror story seems similar to an interesting. We could have done that, or similar like an interesting metaphor. Similar to an interesting metaphor or similar like an interesting metaphor. What is metaphor? Metaphor is basically an application of a simile. Simile is like he is like a lion, but he was lion in the fight. He is like a lion is a simile, poetic device, and he was a lion in the fight. Lion becomes the metaphor. This statement becomes the metaphor. It's a poetic device. So, applied simile is a metaphor. So, the horror story seems like an interesting metaphor for lopsided development. Okay. Alambakkam, now a laid-back village near Tiruchi, was once an important administrative center. No error till now, with several surrounding villages coming on its jurisdiction. Okay, it should be under its jurisdiction. Under, because under someone's or something's, the jurisdiction of someone or a place's jurisdiction means its control. So, Alambakkam, now a laid-back village near Tiruchi, was once an important administrative center, no problem, with several surrounding villages coming under its jurisdiction. Under Alambakkam's jurisdiction means control and power and all. Next question. 16. Moody further said that its stable outlook from non-financial corporates in India over the next 12 to 18 months reflects in large part of the country's sustained economic growth. Okay, let us read it again. Moody further said that its stable outlook from non-financial corporates, outlook means thought process. So, Moody further said that its stable outlook from non-financial corporates in India over the next 12 to 18 months reflects in large part of the country's sustained economic growth. I think error is in B part because Moody further said that its stable outlook towards, you have outlook towards something, right? Outlook towards life, outlook towards things which are not very good. So, you have outlook towards something. So, error is in part B. Next question. French President Emmanuel Macron has also reached out to Qatar, Saudi Arabia and Iran in a bid to kick off negotiations. Okay, French President Emmanuel Macron has also, no error, reached out to Qatar, no problem, Saudi Arabia and Iran in a bid to kick off negotiations. No error students, no error. Okay. The song has been released on the label of Saregama, who launched Hardcore's debut album as well. Okay, label means banner, right? So, not on the label, it's under the label of, under the banner, under the label of something. So, the song has been released under the label of Saregama, who launched Hardcore's debut album as well. So label means banner. So under the banner of, under the label of. Moving ahead, question number 19. Miss Sharma expressed satisfaction over action taken by Gurugram police in the case so far after seeking a detailed report under the matter. Okay, seeking a detailed report about the matter, not under the matter. I seek a report about something or report of something. Let us do some brainstorming. Ms. Sharma expressed satisfaction over action taken by the Gurugram police in the case so far after seeking a detailed report of the matter. So about is also correct to some extent, but of the seeking a report of the matter. This is the correct answer. Means error is in part D 100%, not under the matter. You seek the report of something or seek the report of something. So let us discard this. Of something, of the matter will be the correct answer. Error is in part D. After internal tests, we find that the inner lining of the intestine in both cases has thickened, while the blood parameters are by normal range. This by is incorrect. I'll tell you why. After internal tests, we find that the inner lining of the intestine in both cases has thickened, while the blood parameters are under normal range. Under. If something has a range, it is under that particular range, under that normal range. This is the correct answer. Moving ahead, students, and let us do some vocabulary. So the first word is curmudgeon. Curmudgeon means an old irritable man. An old irritable means very grumpy, is known as a curmudgeon. Dally means to walk very slowly. Very act and walk very slowly is dally. It's often said dilly dally. Means to do something very slowly and very in a very lazy manner is dally. Dank means a smelly place which is very damp because of water. For example, there is a room which is in the basement or underground. It becomes very dank. It has smell and it is damp. Okay. Okay, students. Now the word is decadence. Decadence means a haughty kind of behavior and conduct, just to show one's moral character. Decadence. Okay. Larceny means cheating and trickery, treachery, trickery. Cheating, larceny. I'll repeat, curmudgeon means an old and irritable man. Dally means to act or walk very slowly. Dank means a space which is very damp and smelly. Decadence means attitude or behavior of arrogance. Larceny means cheating or trickery. Deliquesce means to become liquid after absorbing some water. There are some chemicals which are deliquescent, means they absorb water and become liquid. So deliquesce means the process of becoming liquid by absorbing water. Okay, students, moving to this word. This word means depredation, means the act of attacking a place in order to loot it or plunder it. It's known as depredation. Descant is basically a speech or a discourse is known as a descant. Derisive means something which is very demeaning, very derogatory, very despicable, means which hurts you is derisive, which is very judgmental kind of thing. Despoil is again trying to loot a place in order to remove valuables from a place is known as despoil. Desultory means lacking interest or lacking a purpose of life, known as desultory, without aim, known as desultory. And dichotomy means separate, means having different opinion from somebody. Two people may have dichotomies, means they have different opinions, they are separate. Okay, so dichotomy means separation from having a different opinion or separation from something. Fine. So let us move ahead and understand what we learned today. Our summary of our session today. We learned prepositions, type of prepositions, rules related to prepositions, exercises based on prepositions, and 12 high frequency words. So students, I hope you enjoyed today's session. Thank you.
ஃபாரின்ல படிச்சாதான் பெரிய ஆளாக முடியும்னு இல்லை, நம்ம ஒரு வெராண்டால படிச்சாலே போதும். VerandaRace வங்கி மற்றும் அரசு தேர்வுகளுக்கான ஆன்லைன் பயிற்சி.